Thanks for watching.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So my apologies about last week, but
No worries.
with that out of the way, is do I have that right that you wrote, directed, and star in Cash for Gold? Because I saw you in the movie as the main character that I'm watching the entire time.
I that is true, except I had a co-director, Robert Enriquez.
Okay, co-director. All right, so nice. All right, Robert Enriquez. So what was that process like writing the script? Did you always envision yourself as the main character in the Cash for Gold movie?
Yeah, I did. My background is in acting. I've been an actor for about 25 years now.
Okay,
And I had written a short film about 6 pages long that now that you've seen the movie, it's essentially the inciting incident of the feature. It's the scene where she goes into the pawn shop for the first time.
okay.
That existed as it's a standalone short. So
Oh,
you didn't know why she needed the money and you didn't know what happened after the fact. So it went to festivals. I wrote it for a few reasons. I wanted to write a part that I was excited to play myself.
okay,
Um, I wanted to take a little bit more control of my career as opposed to being, waiting around for someone to say, we're going to hire you.
sure.
And also I wrote that in September of 2011. It was,
2011? Really?
yeah, it was
Okay.
the, it was the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yep, it was heavy times because we were still in the Great Recession. I had just gone
Oh,
through, I was in the midst of a separation divorce.
funny.
And we were seeing on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 a resurgence of anti-Muslim sentiment within the United States against
Sure.
our own people because of their religion. And I was just like, all those things were weighing on me. And so I wanted to write a story about a woman that I would play, a white woman, and an Iranian American immigrant, a Muslim person, two people who would look at each other and maybe think they have very little in common
Right.
and subvert both the characters' expectations and the expectations of the audience about what would happen between the two of them.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely did it. It's an eye opener of a film, like these very different backgrounds with the pawn store folks and it is Hassan and Farah, correct, right? And
Hassan and Muhammad.
Muhammad, Hassan and Muhammad. And
Sarah is someone who it figures into the story. That's right.
okay, thanks. I got that. So, and but the way the characters grow on each other throughout it is it's organic. It seems very human like. How did you get these very human like performances out of the actors? Because it's like you're watching, yeah, like it's eye-opening, but it's like you're watching, it's like a glimpse into something that you wouldn't normally see. Like I would see that aspect of walking into the pawn store and the initial sort of reactions and that sort of standoffish vibe. But then you like peel back the a layer of the onion and you start going deeper into it, and we're realizing everybody's human at the core. And it's like, all those barriers can drop off and then you see something beautiful. So how did you get those sorts of performances out of the cast?
Oh, that's such an astute comment from you about the layers of the onion. I really appreciate that because
Oh,
it
it's a
was what
great
I was
film.
trying to do. I mean, I hope that the performances begin with the words on the page. I'd like to think that as a writer. I think my advantage coming from 25 years of acting is I have said a lot of other people's words. And you, as an actor, if you're a skilled actor, you recognize how great writing makes your job easier. So my goal when
Mhm.
I was writing the story was to give our actors words that made them sound like real people in the real world. And so that was where, I guess I hope it starts. But then the performances themselves, that's all those beautiful actors that came to work with us. For the most part, we gave them, Robert, my co-director and I, we gave them the script and we left them alone. We had the, but we had the great luck and benefit to be able to hire a lot of incredibly talented character actors who I know from my long tenure in theater, both in
Okay.
Chicago and LA. These are people the majority of the cast, I think our audiences won't recognize. I hope. I mean, I really hope that people are just disappearing into their parts. And even when we do have recognizable actors like Jo Beth Williams and David Sullivan and Leslie Farah and Andrew J. West, people will recognize them, Jeff Kober, from their roles on television and film.
Yeah.
But because I know these people, because they're friends of mine, and because they loved the story we were trying to tell,
Mhm.
many of them came to work on roles smaller than they would ever consider otherwise.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay.
Leslie Farah from Pretty Little Liars, she's in one scene
Yeah,
with
you
me.
have yeah.
Yeah. I was so grateful that she was happy to do that. And it was such a love fest of having so many of our friends and family in the movie. Family, when I say family, my ex-husband, who's also an actor, was also in the film.
Really?
Yep, yep. So
Which character? Um,
he plays the cop in
oh,
the
all right, okay. I wasn't gonna
yeah.
guess the cop, but
It just Robert and I talked about it, and we thought, when are we ever going to get to make a movie again with this much creative license? Obviously, Amos is the lead producer, had to approve all of the casting along with us,
sure.
but I thought, I want to make this with people I love and trust, who I know will just show up and bring it. Nobody had a trailer. A lot of us
Wow.
were for scale, and in the very freezing cold, negative temperatures the
Really?
whole.
Negatives? It sure looked cold in the like the movie as I'm watching it is cold, but it was like negatives though.
Yep, it
So like
was. There are scenes in the cemetery where Grace is barely closed, really,
yeah,
because I wrote it that way.
right. Jeez, but did you factor in?
It was 10 degrees below the entire time.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah,
Man.
brutal.
And you were still like hammering out those scenes.
And it was so
That's
hard.
dedication. I mean, what about when you went and you confronted the Mikey at the and he was in his pickup. How cold was that? Because that looked pretty when I saw that scene, I was like, it's cold outside.
You know what? That was one of the warmer days. I
Really?
think
Oh, okay.
we were actually in the positives. I think it was around 20 degrees that day.
Oh wow, 20 is in the positive. All right, okay. Where did you film this at that it's so cold?
We shot in a beautiful small town called Chisholm, Minnesota. It's in
Okay.
Minnesota Iron Range, northern Minnesota.
Northern Minnesota.
Yeah, I want to say about 3 hours north of the Twin Cities.
Oh wow, okay. So I guess that's where the cold like Minnesota. Okay. All right. Nice.
Oh,
So that's freezing. I don't know if I could have done that. But let me ask you, so you in the film though, you play a Gold Star family member. Would that be correct?
uh, yeah. I play the widow of an army,
Right. That
sorry, an army who has done tours in Afghanistan. Yeah.
okay. All right. And then he came back home and he had the I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah, don't
I
let's
won't
yeah.
spoil anything. Yeah. So tragic story. And I really hope that folks check this out because there are some amazing character moments in this movie. And like after the bar and then let's get out the car. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yes, I
But yeah,
do.
that's it came out of nowhere. It's a really I've never seen a scene like that
Do you
before.
know, I want to tell you about that scene, which
Good.
I call it the roaring scene. I mean,
Okay, I was gonna say it. I didn't want to. Go ahead.
and that I have to give credit for that scene to my co-director Robert.
Okay.
Um, so he had been working on the script with me the whole time before we met our producer Amos, after which we did further development on it. But that scene, I couldn't figure out, okay, this horrible thing has happened to the two of them. How are they going to get out of it? And I really wanted Hassan, the Iranian American character, to do something completely surprising, something that would look like it's against everything we know about him.
Yeah.
Um, and Robert suggested what you see in the film. And we actually, interesting trivia,
Hmm.
we had to shoot that. We had to shoot that scene at 2 a.m.
Okay.
It wasn't, I think it wasn't even on the call sheet, but something had happened the day before. We were just running and gunning. We shot 92 pages in 15 days, which is very fast.
Can you repeat that?
92 pages in 15
You
days.
shot 92 pages in 15 days.
Yes, sir. And
Oh,
in really demanding circumstances, like I've talked about the cold. And I don't remember the exact reason, but it was like, okay, tonight's the night. We got to grab that scene.
sure.
And it was so late and so cold. We were working with a real skeleton crew.
Okay.
Um, I think for that night, Robert was, in a van. It was freezing cold. He was in a van, like we were communicating on walkies.
Oh, wow.
But it was just me and Hassan out there doing what we were doing. And we hadn't gotten this little town didn't require permits, but neither had we alerted, say, the police.
About this this scene here. Okay.
So, yes. And so when people watch the movie, they'll know a little bit more what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the neighbors were like, what is going on? Is
That's
someone being
alarming.
murdered?
Yeah, it's out of nowhere, at 2 a.m. and you're hearing that. Yeah.
So brutal. And Farshid started to lose his voice.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we were really up against it that night, but I love that scene so much. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
It's definitely a great scene. It
Thank
is. Yeah. And that was not scripted.
No, no, it was
It was
scripted.
scripted.
It
Okay.
was just that I feel like I remember we didn't know where we were going to find time for it, and it was possible we finished something early one night, and we're like we're just gonna keep going.
Right.
So we went to the park
Gotcha.
outside to shoot that scene among all those Christmas lights.
Oh, wow. That's a powerful scene there. And it's a
Thank you.
powerful film.
Thank
And
you.
you're welcome. I really hope folks go out and see Cash for Gold. Let me ask you, Deborah, when and where can we direct folks to go check out the movie?
Yep, we launch on video on demand on February 4th. So I know for most folks I know that'll be Apple TV, Amazon. It'll be on, I think, YouTube movies. But we have a website, Cash for Gold the Film.
Okay.
We have everything there. But generally, anywhere you can find movies to rent is where you'll be able to rent our film on February 4th. And we hope people will check it out as early as possible because that always helps. We're a tiny little film without a big marketing budget, and the more people see it and tell their friends about it, the more that affects the algorithm and everything else. And I,
Definitely.
it's my goal, not just because I made a movie I want people to see, but I think if ever there was a time in our country where we could maybe all use a story like this one about two people who think that they could not be more different and find out that nothing could be further from the truth, I think that today would be that day.
I agree. Worlds apart and yet all in the same world.
That's right.
Fantastic movie. And
Thank you.
thank you for your time and thank you for allowing me to watch Cash for Gold. And I'll do my best to get the word out here with LRM so that folks can check out the movie.
Oh my God. Thank you for taking your time, Stefan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thanks so
Bye.
much, Stefan.
See you, Cordelia. Bye bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.